This is the show giving you the best sales insights and ideas to become the best you can be in sales and sales leadership. My name is Gert Scholts. Welcome to Best Practice for Sales Professionals. Salespeople make more sales when they have a better understanding of how digital leads are generated. Today I'm delighted to meet up with someone who calls himself a sleeves rolled up marketing and growth consultant. He has over 15 years experience across customer acquisition, retention and product marketing, both in business to business and business to consumer. He has that rare mix of strategy and execution, delivering more profitable customers and faster for his clients. Ed Davidson, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gert. Thanks a lot for having me on. Looking forward to it.
Ed, thanks for coming on the show. So you help your clients win more business, more clients. How do you go about finding your own clients and convincing them that they should use you?
Yeah, so I think your network is hugely important, but I found actually content marketing works particularly well in building a base of prospects and opening those initial conversations as well. It's all about kind of adding value back to your community, I've found. Knowing where your audience is consuming content, helping out with the community, any questions that they have. And I think what's really important within that is maybe finding a style that kind of stands out and you're recognized for against the rest of the noise that's going on there. Conversational marketing is great from a B2B context there because you're speaking the language of your prospect. You're starting to have kind of real-time conversations with them. And then ultimately you're creating a more human buying experience with them, which is likely to create high value leads. So that's the kind of way I go about kind of reaching out and engaging with the people that I do business with.
That's interesting. So you definitely see you have to invest first before you can reap the rewards. So today we're going to talk about why salespeople should take note of digital marketing and understand how it works. Why is that important?
Well, I think quite high value or high amount of people, kind of percentage of people, especially in a B2B way, are going to be looking at doing their own product research before they actually and are willing to kind of speak to a salesperson. I think that potential is likely to increase over time as customers become more empowered and they're often contrasting different options before they speak to a salesperson. But I think that really provides a real great opportunity for marketing and sales people to come together, to engage prospects at kind of the right time in the funnel and to really build out ideally those kind of truly high caliber leads. There's obviously a huge range of digital lead generation channels that we could talk about, but you've mentioned search there and keywords, SEO. I think if you kind of remove all the jargon, ultimately you have a view or a window into purchase intent of the type of people, the volume of people, what they're actively searching for, and then when they come to a site and become a lead, where they are within that kind of purchase funnel.
So that's how it should work in the ideal work. Tell me, what's it like in the real world when you start talking and working with salespeople from a sort of a digital lead generation perspective?
Yeah, sometimes, understandably, there is sometimes a disconnect between sales and marketing teams. Leads can be generated, but the interactions after them, potentially don't have that level of urgency. Often a case, especially with the comparisons made between different options and different services, that's kind of sweet spot where somebody's engaging with those leads is massively important. Even out of hours or through different channels, through chat, the lead needs to be jumped on. And another situation you often see that there should be a natural tension between sales teams and marketing teams in terms of the quality of the leads or the ability to close those leads. And that's good if that tension encourages productivity. But sometimes if it becomes a bit toxic and it can be a division between teams, then that can sometimes make it more difficult. And it's crucial to bring teams together that collaborate and talk to one another. So there's opportunities there. And I suppose the other one that is often the case, there's sometimes poor after sales support from a marketing perspective. Ideally, you want to have that great handover between a salesperson and a customer success person, that all the information is passed over with the CRM, and then there's ongoing marketing communications as well as personal interactions to make sure there's an opportunity for an ongoing relationship with that customer to upsell, but also referral opportunities, which are massively important for marketers as well.
Very good. So from a best practice perspective, what should this collaboration between sales and marketing people look like in that digital lead generation arena?
Yeah, I think the first thing is the targets, to have that mutual accountability, making sure that KPIs are lined up, that targets are tied up together as well. I think also the levers of understanding, pulling one lever in the business is going to affect another. If you're going to increase lead volumes, then potentially there's going to be an impact to lead quality. Knowing what those levers should be and how you're making them most effective, I think it's really important as well. We touched on collaboration. That's hugely important as well. I think from a sales perspective, salespeople are talking to customers and prospects all the time. They have such an amazing insight that's so useful for marketers. Having that feedback back to the marketing team is really important to improve campaigns. And then from a marketing perspective, that collaboration and communication around the data that's coming out of the campaigns and how it's worked and what hasn't worked, and passing it back to the sales guys so they have an understanding what's coming up and what's the lead pipeline that's likely to be. I kind of say technology, but don't forget the beers. There's the technology in terms of collaborative tools, which are super useful, but don't forget that interaction. It doesn't have to be beers, but really engaging with people, bringing the teams together, creating a kind of sense of kind of culture of those two departments, I think is really important as well. But the final one is don't be afraid to criticize. I think that should be constructive criticism, but listen to the sales calls and feeding back on those calls to see what has worked, hasn't worked. But just as fair, the sales guys being able to criticize campaigns, the type of leads that are coming in and the type of things that haven't worked, because it really then breaks down kind of barriers and make sure there's a terminology that everyone understands and you're on the same page with everything.
They are excellent examples, and I think there will be a lot of beer being requested after this interview. Okay, listen, maybe just to round off, if you could give salespeople 3 to-the-point tips how to make best use of digital leads, what would you say to them? What would be your 3 tips?
Yep, sure. So number 1, I would delve into that lead as much as possible when you receive it. You should hopefully have as much detailed understanding of the motivations of the customer or the prospect in order to be able to have that amazing first touch point with them. What marketing materials they've consumed, where they've been on the site. All this information is readily available, at least kind of the marketing team, and that should be available to the salesperson to give them the most ammo that they have. Number 2, I would say, nurture the leads with marketing's help. That's what kind of marketing's there for. I think sometimes teams will have a bit of a kind of fire and forget or kind of passing the baton on. Ideally, that should be a kind of process where marketing's on one side, sales on the other side. So, request the best possible case studies that are most relevant to that particular company. Build up that kind of social proof that really makes sure that lead gets over the line. And then I suppose that the final one is, we kind of touched on, but constructive feedback and engagement with the marketing team will help build your pipeline, will help build marketing's refinement of the messaging as well. Helping the marketing team as well to where the customer gets that aha moment where they really truly understand it, because as a salesperson you've cut through. Being able to have that message and use that higher up in the funnel and other parts of the funnel is so useful as well. An example of anything else like booking a demo and how that process could be improved to reduce friction, I think is really important. So they're my kind of 3 top tips.
Ed, that's great advice, great tips that people can do something with straight away. Thanks for coming on the show. I know you've got a really busy schedule. Thanks again, and speak to you soon.
Thanks a lot. See you soon. Bye-bye.